All right, looks like we're live. So I'd like to welcome all the devotees here. Narayan Prabhu, Prabhu Manjari
Yeah.
Prabhu,
Hare Krishna.
Jai,
All obeisances to you and everyone else who is hearing,
Jai,
because you are the difference between the material world and Krishna Loka.
Jai. So we'd like to welcome our online
The
devotees,
jivas from Krishna Loka.
Jai, and our offline devotees who would be watching this and downloading it. We really appreciate your comments, your insights. And if you'd like to get in contact with us, you're always welcome to join our WhatsApp group. It's in the description of each and every video. And then you can come in contact in the group and then send us a message, group chat, communicate, and anything else. So today we'll be reading a interview given the interview of Srila Prabhupada. This is from 1968, September 24th, 1968. And we'll go step by step, meaning that we'll read what Prabhupada says, and then if we'll discuss, and then the question by the interviewer and Srila Prabhupada speaks, and we'll discuss. And anyone can comment on Facebook and YouTube if they have a question, or they have a realization, or if they want to be part of the program, just send me a message and I'll send you the link. I will be constantly switching back and forth, looking at comments and trying to manage the whole meeting. So Rupa Manjari Prabhu, can you start off by reading from here?
Sure.
We'll
Are we planning to read the whole thing?
Just about wherever till we can get, you know?
Okay.
Yes.
Personality of Godhead who stops our struggle for existence and raises to the platform of eternal life, bliss, and knowledge. To be more clear, everyone is trying to get eternal life. The whole human society is trying to get the highest perfection of knowledge, and they are trying also by so many methods to become happy, blissful, but they are being confused and baffled. Therefore, if we take to Krishna consciousness, these things will be easily achieved. Interviewer, would you give me a background, the history and origin of Krishna consciousness? Prabhupada, no history can trace out the origin of Krishna consciousness because the living entities, they are eternal. The bodily concept of life is not correct. Nobody dies, nobody takes birth. Everyone is eternal. This change of body is considered a change of dress. Therefore, nobody can say that this is the beginning of life. So whenever there is life, there is consciousness also. And originally, the consciousness is Krishna consciousness. But due to our long material association, that consciousness is covered. Therefore, we are out of Krishna consciousness. This movement is to revive that Krishna consciousness again so that he can be raised to his original position.
So let's just stop here. Manjari Prabhu, thank you. Prabhupada makes a distinction here, the bodily concept of life and the spiritual concept of life. Here says, the bodily concept of life is not correct. Nobody died.
Where are you reading? Where are you reading?
Right here.
Oh, I see. Can you highlight it?
Sure. Yeah. The bodily concept of life is not correct. Nobody dies. Nobody takes birth. Everyone is eternal. This change of body is considered a change of dress. So I'd like to bring this comment into spiritual life and to our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has spoken here about the bodily concept of life and the eternal concept of life. So whatever is eternal is what? Eternal, right? So why, when we talk about Srila Prabhupada's message, Srila Prabhupada's Vani, are we applying a bodily concept of life on to Krishna consciousness? And that's why we think, oh, a guru is needed, or I need a living person. Is that what we're doing? We're not looking at the message. We're looking at something else.
Well, repeat the message then.
No, I'm saying that when we say...
No, you're quite, I really think you're right on track. But can you repeat the passage that triggered you to say that?
Well, here, the bodily concept of life is not correct. Nobody dies, nobody takes birth. Everyone is eternal. This change of body is considered a change of dress. So why are we so concerned about the change of dresses? You know, for example, Prabhupada does not change of dress because his position as the Acharya and the spiritual master of the, throughout the golden age of Kali is absolute. So the change of dress and the message doesn't apply to him.
Well, it's interesting because a pure devotee like Prabhupada can have a quote-unquote change of dress in that he was birthed as Abhay Charan in Calcutta, India.
Yes.
But that is not the same thing as everybody else.
Yes.
Because everybody else takes a birth out of being forced to take that birth due to their previous life's activities. Their good deeds and bad deeds give them a good or bad experience in the next change of dress.
Yes.
But for a pure devotee, he has no bad deeds and he has no sins. He has nothing. Therefore, when he takes a body, it is simply as an instrument, just like an instrument like a violin or a guitar. You can play it and it will produce music. The question is, what music are you playing? In Prabhupada's sense, he is producing transcendental sound vibration, and that is why he's called transparent via medium. Transparent means there's Krishna, there's Prabhupada, and there's us.
Yes.
If we look at Prabhupada and listen to him, shut our eyes, become absorbed in his sound vibration, that is coming from Krishna, not from a mortal being born in India. And that's why Prabhupada can continue what he did, because whether he's recorded or live, it's silly to consider that one or the other is more important.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So, and then Prabhupada
I really like your point. It's very, very to the point.
And Prabhupada also makes a very significant point here that, which we are all, conditioned by this, but due to our long material association, that consciousness is covered. Therefore, we are out of Krishna consciousness because because we are part and parcel of Krishna, and, spiritual consciousness is our natural state, meaning that our dormant state. But when we come to Krishna consciousness, even though we hear all these real, eternal truths, we still have a very hard time understanding this. Okay, the Prabhupada's Vani is eternal, spiritual life is eternal, but we still have a very difficult time understanding all these things.
because we're comparing our material three-dimensional life with Krishna Loka, and since we're looking at it with the basis, the standard, the measuring tools are our present material body.
Yes.
Therefore, we cannot understand the other side of the coin, which is transcendental.
Yes. Yes. So even we read Prabhupada's books, we look at it from a bodily conception of life. Okay, I'm in this body, and looking through the lenses of our bodily concept. So this body conscious, what can you say? This body conscious understanding carries over to the absolute world, absolute truth.
Yeah, it completely blocks the ability to understand the transcendental message from the spiritual master.
Yeah.
And could we not say it is that very tendency that why the GBC and people like that blocked out Prabhupada, created their own kirtan melodies, created their own gurus and stuff like that, simply to keep it in the material, understandable material realm, rather than the inspirational, not understandable spiritual realm. But if we listen to Prabhupada on tapes, we'll get the spiritual realm. We listen to an Iskcon guru or TBC member on earth, and we'll get how to become comfy in our body as long as we can go. But to say one more thing, I'm looking at all my godbrothers and those who are, I mean, I consider everyone my godbrother.
Jai.
Even they take initiation from somebody else. I said, give me a break. Either you surrender to Krishna or you're not. Either you're surrendered to Prabhupada or you're not. If you have a guru, is he an obstacle or is he a via medium? That's what we want to know. But I don't care about that. I just care about. So we want to say, how can you become? How can you get out of the material consciousness without Prabhupada's direct sound vibration coming through your ears, as it is? Anyhow, go ahead.
Excellent. Yeah. This movement is to revive that Krishna consciousness again so that he can be raised to his original position. So this original position, which
good.
that we want to raise is going to be through the pure devotee, Acharya Srila Prabhupada.
Yes. Well, what he's saying there is positive. The other side, say the negative side, would be you can't do it without Prabhupada.
Can you repeat it? You cannot do it without Prabhupada?
Okay. This movement is to revive that Krishna consciousness again so that it can be raised to the original position. Okay, that presupposes that we're not there. Even we take initiation, we chant on our beads, we're not yet there. We're Untitled Acharyas. We're neophytes, really, from the absolute point of view.
Yes.
So he's saying, but how can we do that without Prabhupada's direct sound vibration?
Yes.
Transparent translation. Yes. Can we put up someone as a religious leader?
No.
He can teach us to chant, he can teach us to read, but can he give us the end result, which is pure, unalloyed love of God, as Prabhupada can and does, and I suggest will over the next 10,000 years.
Yeah, yes. Jai. Okay. I think we're ready for the next paragraph. Rupamanjari Prabhu.
Interviewer, would you describe where Krishna consciousness started and why you have come to the Western world? Prabhupada. Krishna consciousness is there in the Bhagavad-Gita. It is a very popular and old literature, Vedic literature, known all over the world. But so far the history of this Bhagavad-Gita is concerned, there are difference of opinions. But factually, even if we take it as it is at least 5,000 years old. And in the Bhagavad-Gita, we learn that 5,000 years ago, it was spoken on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But before that, some millions of years ago, the same Bhagavad-Gita was spoken long, long ago. So actually, the human effort cannot trace out the history of Krishna consciousness. But taking consideration of the present history, it is at least as old as 5,000 years.
1 second, Rupamanjari Prabhu. Narayan Prabhu, anything you'd like to say? Here?
Excuse me. Yes, one small thing.
Yes.
And that is, Srila Prabhupada is talking obviously to a woman with a background in Christianity, and it would seem from things she says in other places, probably Catholicism.
Yeah.
So he's pointing out in a subtle, non-confrontational way that this Bhagavad-Gita is
it's ancient.
It's 3,000 years older than Christianity.
Yes. Yeah, that's very insightful that you've said that. Yes. Yeah. It's very, very clear. And then he also mentions that, but before that, some millions of years ago. Here.
Yes. So he says that, but he doesn't want to completely say that's too woo-woo for me. He brings it down home where she can relate to it, but she has to relate to it as being earlier than all the Western religions, including Judaism.
Jai.
That's why I surrendered to Krishna consciousness, was because it was the oldest.
Oh.
Because my logical sense was that whatever is the oldest is the truest.
Yeah. And then,
That's wonderful.
yeah, excellent. Then you found out about the age of Lord Brahma, huh?
Oh God, yeah, that was a trip.
Then he was like, oh, maybe I surrendered to something that is too old.
Then we say, whoa, and Brahma is nothing compared to the rest of the universes, because Brahma's in charge of a universe that is breathed out of Vishnu, and at the beginning, and he is the head of this universe, which scientists are struggling along like ants trying to fathom what it is really, with their little microscopes and their little magnifying glasses looking at the grains of sand as though they're boulders. So that is a very wonderful observation of the Manjari Prabhu. The oldest is the best. And in today's language of cyber language, the oldest means the primordial. The primordial in terms of computer science is algorithm. Krishna consciousness has to be the original algorithm from which all other algorithms descend. Of course, people go to Silicon Valley and they try to make lots of money pushing intermediary algorithms around to make money and to get paid for it. But in reality, if you want to pursue the algorithms in purity, it'll end up with Krishna.
God.
Because it's the original. The top algorithm is the original algorithm, and that's Krishna himself. So go ahead.
Interviewer, Govinda told me that it started 500 years ago in Western Bengal. Could you elucidate on this, please? Prabhupada, this Bhagavad-Gita is read by the human society not only in India, but outside India since a very long, long time. But unfortunately, as everything is deteriorated by the contact of material contamination, so people began to interpret Bhagavad-Gita in different ways. Therefore, about 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya appeared, and he started the Krishna consciousness movement under his personal guidance in Bengal. His birthplace is known as Navadvip. Now he ordered every Indian to spread this message of Krishna consciousness all over the world in every village and every town. That was his order. But unfortunately, since India was under foreign subjugation, they could not spread, or they lost their own independence of culture. But everyone expected after declaration of independence by India, such things should come to the outside world. But the government did not take much care of it. So far I am concerned, I belong to Lord Chaitanya's disciplic succession, and my spiritual master, who was just 9th generation from Lord Chaitanya, he ordered me that you try to spread this Krishna consciousness in the Western world. Therefore, in pursuance of his order, I have come here.
Amazing.
That is so amazing, isn't it?
He said 9th generation. So that's not too far away.
So, this is why, we keep thinking of Krishna consciousness 5,000 years ago, Satya Yuga, gazillions of years ago, Brahma, uncalculatable years away from where we are. But here we're talking 9th generation.
Yes, right here, 9th generation from Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah, so that tells us that this is all very recent.
Very
even in terms of Western history, it's very recent. Put it this way, Lord Chaitanya appeared similarly to the time that Columbus discovered America.
Yeah.
I mean, that may seem like a long time ago to most people, but in actuality, in terms of Greek and Roman history, it's very recent.
Yeah. Jai. Let's see what else Chaitanya Srila Prabhupada says here.
I could like to make one slight mention.
Sure.
Because Lord Chaitanya came with this mission of chanting Hare Krishna, it should be understood that he's a Yuga avatar. That means he's the person in charge of Kali Yuga in terms of helping people become spiritually realized. So because he's come in this Kali Yuga as Yuga avatar, it means that this is an urgent mission that needs to be taken up seriously right away. And in the last 50 some odd years, we've been neophytes. We've been worse than neophytes. We've been clumsy fools and idiots in most cases. Now it's time to put aside the childish things and take up the reality of Krishna consciousness by hearing it once again directly from Srila Prabhupada. This time we can hear without interruption, because when we listen to a kirtan by Prabhupada, we're not there with Prabhupada being distracted by his attractiveness and beauty. We're simply listening and hearing the transcendental vibration that 80% escaped us at the time. Prabhupada's association escaped us. But if he is eternal pure devotee, are his words lost because he spoke them 50 years ago?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Because his words are only lost to those who don't hear them or want to understand them.
Yeah.
His words are present to anyone, regardless of which century or millennium they happen to land in or be in at this present moment. I mean, this is like 60 years after Prabhupada started the movement.
58, well, I think. 58 years.
Yeah. So what about 500 years from now? If people can hear Prabhupada chanting on recorded means, which I'm sure we'll figure out some way of making it happen, maybe with the help of Elon Musk. When we have that, we can be awakened 500 years from now, or even 5,000 years from now, perhaps far more than anyone who heard him in person, because we're not distracted by our friends, ourselves, our past history, and our, and our environment,
Yeah. He says here, Lord Chaitanya appeared and he started the Krishna consciousness movement under his personal guidance. Yeah?
Yes.
Personal guidance. So we're getting this personal guidance through the transparent via medium, which is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then the predecessor Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada. So what's the difficulty?
Yeah, what's the difficulty? Are we not still under Lord Chaitanya's personal guidance?
Right.
Yes, we are.
This is the thing which has been lost by the GBC, who wanted to replace Prabhupada with themselves, hoping they would become big material leaders of a big religious movement like the Catholic Church. No, that's not the point. The point is, when you catch the message, that is when your life begins.
Try when you catch the message, that's when your life begins. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Excellent. Let's see what else is there.
He says, but unfortunately, since India was under foreign subjugation, they could not spread, or they lost their own independence of culture.
Rupa, please comment. Yes. Well, can you go a little bit in detail? What do you mean, or what were you trying to say?
Well, I just thought it was interesting that I guess the Krishna consciousness movement was stopped up because of the Muslim
and British.
Yes.
Well, let's see. When did the British come?
Oh yeah, they came after Lord Chaitanya. Yes.
Yeah, they came in the 18th century.
But Prabhupada is talking about the modern times right now too. He talks about Indian independence.
Oh yeah, right here. Where does it say? But the government did not take much care of it so far. Okay, yes, right here.
So he means British also.
But anyways, that's over, and now we have the transcendental message. So we are very, very fortunate to have come in contact with the personal guidance, with his personal
and the
guidance.
Encouragement of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, far more than the disastrous, brutal mentality of Indira Gandhi and and
The
Jawaharlal
Congress Party.
Nehru. Yeah, the Congress Party in a nutshell.
Okay. So we're continuing the disciplic succession under the personal guidance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada is that what Prabhupada just said?
No, I said, no, I'm saying
You,
that.
you said it. Oh, that's wonderful.
Because, we're students, disciples. So we're
Interviewer.
Insofar as we are disciples, that is how effective our preaching will be.
right.
The more we are surrendered to hearing from Prabhupada, now, why not now? It's easier than before. Why not listen to hear from Prabhupada now, and then realize what must be done as a result of hearing from Prabhupada?
Yeah.
It's not as though he spoke to people 55 years ago.
Yeah.
He's speaking to Kali, the golden age of Kali.
Right. Yes.
You should not think of it as being something that is limited, and then you have to replace them with all sorts of people that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. A lot of my understanding was through this point that you just mentioned, that I read what Prabhupada said, and then I was like, look here, this is exactly what we need to do, right now, or right here, right now. So that's how I learned, just by directly hearing from Srila Prabhupada. That's why I was always looking for, more and more, solidified understanding.
Wow.
So,
Interviewer. Where is Krishna consciousness most common in the world, and how widespread is it in India? Prabhupada. In India, Krishna consciousness is 100% spread. Every Indian, even if he is not Hindu, he is Krishna conscious. There is one professor in Allahabad University. He is Mohammedan by religion, but he is a great devotee of Krishna. On the birthday of Krishna, he would fast the whole day, and he would write one article to some paper. So similarly, Krishna consciousness is heart and soul of every Indian. One may differ, one may not agree, or there are so many different classes of men, but Krishna is known 100% in India.
One thing I'd like to say here, why does Prabhupada bring in the bodily concept of life here? Because, I guess the question was, where is Krishna consciousness most common in the world? Obviously in India. So Prabhupada replied in that regard, because
exactly
to that interviewer's question, generally he does not answer.
The woman's question really was, what's behind what you're doing? What is behind you? And Prabhupada says, all of India is behind me.
Jai.
Everyone. In one sense, you could say that is an incredible exaggeration. In another sense, you could say that's absolutely true.
Yes.
What he says is true, but if you go to India and ask each individual, they may not agree. But look how they're living. Look at their names. Look at their caste. Look at their religions. It's all coming from Krishna, but they want to mess around with it because they are trying to become like the British and deny their history. But Prabhupada put it there that even though the British denied the history, it's still there. So if you look at it from Prabhupada's actual floating above the material energy point of view and looking down through the jivas all over India, it's absolutely true. There's no other country in the world. Like you go to Africa, you go to Russia, you go to Iceland, you will not find a background of Krishna consciousness there. But in India, that's all there is a background of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah,
whether they want to admit it or not.
Yeah. Jai. Okay, let's continue, Rupa. Thank you. Hold on, let me go up a little bit. Yes.
Interviewer, is Krishna consciousness more easily accepted among Indians and among Far Eastern peoples than amongst the Western peoples? Prabhupada, it is the easiest method conceivable because the method is so easy that we simply ask people to come and chant the name of Krishna. And it is actually experienced that in this country, All my disciples, they are neither Indian nor Hindu, nor they know the Sanskrit words. Everything is unknown to them, but still they are taking so seriously. That is the proof how it is easier that it can be spread all over the world.
Jai.
Interviewer: I mean, just is Krishna consciousness more readily accepted by the Far Eastern peoples? That is, does their way of life make the acceptance of Krishna consciousness any more easy than here in America? For instance, Americans are constantly rushing around and Europeans somewhat less, but they find it more difficult to be tranquil and peaceful than the Eastern peoples. For this reason, might it not be harder for Western peoples to accept Krishna consciousness?
So let's just dive into the interviewer's question. You see here, he or she is making a distinction between the different classes of Western people, the Western people and what? The Far Eastern Western people, right? Is it here? What does it say?
Why don't we go back for a moment? Is Krishna consciousness more easily accepted amongst Indian people than amongst Western peoples? Then we go to the next line of Prabhupada's response. It is the easiest method conceivable because the method is so easy that we simply ask people to come and chant the name of Krishna. Remember, he's talking to a newspaper reporter. She's going to record that. It's going to be broadcast out, and people who read the newspaper will be affected by what Prabhupada says. Instead of him being this tight little Swami where you have to sit for 10 years before you can find out what he's thinking. No, he's making it very clear. It's open and it's free. An actual experience in this country. Then he says, well, my disciples, they are neither Indian nor Hindu. All his disciples was very few people at that time. This is 1968. Yeah. At that time, there were probably 50 to 60 disciples in the movement.
Right.
But he's seeing it from if you look at it from the present point of view, there's thousands and thousands of devotees in the movement.
Yeah.
So still they're taking so seriously. That is to prove how it is easier that it can be spread all over the world. And that, if you look at it carefully, you can see how is it possible for people to take up chanting Hare Krishna, then reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and taking up Krishna consciousness earnestly when it's completely foreign to anything we've studied before. And I would say the answer is it's not completely foreign. It completely coincides it coincides with our inner search for life.
Jai.
I mean, if you read a science book, it'll tell you some interesting stuff that will advance your intelligence. Same if you read a philosophy book or poetry, whatever you have, it gives you an edge toward understanding life more perfectly and nicely. But if you read Prabhupada's books, they're very easy to say, I'm jumping beyond the ordinary,
Yeah. Okay. Let's continue, Prabhu.
Prabhupada, in India, due to her long subjugation by the foreigners, practically the so-called educated persons, they have lost their original culture. Rather, those who are not so-called educated, following the traditional rules and regulations, they are more Krishna conscious. And the educated circle, they are thinking that this religious temperament is the cause of India's economic fall down. But actually, that is not the fact. So not only India, in other countries also, they are trying to imitate the economic situation or economic development of other countries, especially of America. But they do not find that in America, although the boys and girls, the younger generation, they are born of rich family, rich nation, they are still confused, and they are also hankering after something better. So the policy followed by India now, that is to imitate the Western way of life, is not very happy mood. This means that they have lost their original culture. And so far Western countries are concerned, I think they have sufficient arrangement for material comforts. Now they can very easily take up this Krishna consciousness movement because they have no disturbance for material hankering. And I think it is the time for them to accept this Krishna consciousness movement to make them perfectly well.
Jai.
Well, yeah, that's Prabhupada completely. Well, did you want to say something, Ramachandra?
No. I'll comment in a bit. I'm just gathering my thoughts.
Oh, okay. So anyhow, it would seem that the way I explained what Prabhupada was doing, Prabhupada now says clearly, right on the open, what he's doing, how the difference between the Indians who are yearning after America. This is what it was like when I first went to India in 1972, 71, 72.
I want to comment on this word here. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Indians were constantly talking about, oh, how you are taking up our vows of poverty and your Indian clothing and chanting on beads, and we're trying to go to America and wear business suits and make money. That was before Silicon Valley or anything like that took place.
Yeah.
This was
before Silicon Valley took off.
Rare moment of history
that
took place.
Yeah. No, I was going to mention that this part here, although the boys and girls, the younger generation, are born of rich family, rich nation, they're still confused. And they are also hankering after something better. Now, Narayan Prabhu, that you talked about your generation. Now I'm talking about my generation. I grew up. I grew up in America in the 90s. Now it's 2022. I can see that. I'm bringing in the bodily conception of life here, at least because Prabhupada was talking about that, and we were talking about it. That these Indians here locally, and these people, their fathers are well off. They have money. They have all the necessities of life, but they're missing their original culture. Just like at one time, your generation took it up. So the tides have turned. The Indians have been in America for many years now.
Well, some of the Indians.
Yeah, some of the Indians, and now their culture is so. That's what I've been noticing here. That.
Well, yes, I agree completely. But remember what I was saying before. Why did the Americans take up something foreign, like reading the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad-Gita like that, when it wasn't? Because it gave them an insight into the meaning of life that they could not get from science, from sociology, from politics, from their general education.
Right.
They could not get that information. So that's what's happening now is that, you see, the danger period we've entered into the danger zone.
Yes, danger zone.
Krishna consciousness into a religion.
Yes.
If you turn into a religion, you don't have to understand it. All you have to do is repeat it and believe it and say, this is going to work. And when I die, I'll die and go to wherever Jesus is,
This concept of, you just have to do your karma and then, you don't have to worry about anything. This is the typical Hindu belief that, I am a spirit soul, I'm an Atma, and all I have to do is you do a nice karma, and I will go back to Godhead.
But do they understand that they can take birth as an animal in their next life?
Yeah. This part
do they believe? I mean, who believes? I'm looking at all the devotees saying, what are you going to be doing in your next life? And people just stand there unable to relate to that. They want to talk about today. Oh, the COVID. War in Ukraine. They're going on chattering desperately. These demons are taking over the world. What can we do to stop them?
Right.
We can't stop them. This is Kali Yuga. The demons take over the world. Get used to it. We have to create an alternative. Chanting and cow protection. That's the alternative. But nobody's gone to the desperate means of doing that because we've all gone along with the demons. Now the demons are turning on us. Just like all the cows are happy because they're being taken to the pasture, they're being fed, and they're being milked, and everything is going nicely for them. They're happy as anything. Until finally they're being taken to the slaughterhouse. Oh,
Right.
now we're not happy anymore. Please
Huh.
don't take us to the slaughterhouse. Well, why were you going along so nicely with the demons to begin with? Then, you don't like to go to the slaughterhouse. That's what's part of the deal, and you didn't know it.
Yeah.
Going to the slaughterhouse is part of the deal of being a cow, whether it's a milk cow or a beef cow. That's part of the deal. You'll go to the slaughterhouse because that's why we're taking the trouble to feed you. But
So right now,
people don't understand. So the devotees, I'm going to tie it in, the devotees have been living off of the system. They've taken their jobs in IT, they
Right.
got a nice apartments, they got
Right,
nice clothes, and
Huh.
they're comfy. Now comfy is being taken away from them. They're saying, wait a minute, why is comfy being taken away from me? Who's doing this? Who's taking it away? And then they say, oh, these demons are doing. Well, these are the same demons that were feeding you, you foolish people.
Yeah.
But now we have to understand that this is for real. But right now, most of the internet, the devotees are busy squeaking and squawking about how to get their comfort zone back.
Well, it's
But
not
then
coming
what
back.
about it?
Yeah.
Suppose you're 60, 70, 80 years old, you want your comfort zone back. Well, who doesn't want a comfort zone? So you get your comfort zone back. And then what? At some point you leave your body
Right.
and you're no longer in that comfort zone, or you're no longer under the subjugation of these particular demons.
Yeah.
You're going to take a birth where you're subjected to some other demons, or maybe the descendants of those demons.
Yeah.
But no one's thinking like that. Devotees are so intoxicated on being comfortable as devotees, as a religious group, that they cannot see that they are being challenged to the core. What did you learn from? What is the challenge? The big challenge, like, could be fiery writing in the sky. All right, party's over. What did you learn from listening to Srila Prabhupada? What did you learn from Prabhupada's Transcendental Sound Vibration chanting Hare Krishna? Oh, we didn't do that. We did rock and roll once because the demons in charge of the culture were giving us a comfort zone with rock and roll. So we're doing rock and roll kirtans because it's more comfy. Okay, but now what happens when that's taken away? Oh, they don't know what to do. That's what we're doing. We're educating them. They took you from the demons in the form of the demons in form of the GBC, took you from Prabhupada, Kirtan, took Prabhupada's Kirtan away from you, and then gave you teachers who are not Prabhupada. Whereas all they had to do is, the teachers included could sit down in the temple room and listen to the recording of Prabhupada leading Kirtan, or better yet, listen on your own on headphones. Then when you come into the Kirtan, everybody knows how to chant nicely. I actually did that in Los Angeles when I came back from India. I held classes teaching people how to chant Prabhupada's Kirtan.
Try.
And how to play Prabhupada's Pradanga.
I have a question now.
Yes.
So my question is to both of you. So I will each give you guys an opportunity to answer. First, I'll ask Rupa Manjari Prabhu.
Sure.
Rupa Manjari Prabhu, when's the best time to take up Krishna consciousness?
Right now.
Hare Krishna, how do you know? How did you know that? I was going to say right now is the best time. You said exactly what I was wanted to hear. Right now.
Yeah, no time like the present.
Hare Krishna, joy. She answered my question. So.
But then if you go into a temple, say, I want to take up Krishna consciousness right now, they'll guide you to somebody chanting non-Prabhupada melodies, non-Prabhupada ideas, non-Prabhupada lectures from a guy that's not self-realized.
Edited books, right. Yeah.
And that's why we need to replace the current tumor, the cancer of GBC, with simply healthy Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Excellent. You answered my question. You read my mind, so let's go on.
Okay, interviewer, is there conflict with other Eastern religions, and if so, how far is this spread? Prabhupada, there is no conflict at all. The conflict is between persons who are godless, who does not believe in God. Conflict is there. The conflict is not between East and West. The conflict is between the atheists and the theists. We are preaching Krishna consciousness, not that we are trying to replace something by Indian method to Christian method or Jewish method. That is not our policy. This is, in one sense, Krishna consciousness movement is the postgraduate study of all religions. What is the method of religion? To accept the authority of God. That is the primary principle of every religion, maybe Christian religion or Hindu religion or Mohammedan religion. It doesn't matter. But people are becoming godless. That is the problem. They are unhappy, they are thinking that there is no God, nature is everything. That is their foolishness. They are unhappy for this godlessness. And as a result of this godlessness, the Communist Party have sprung up, the hippies have sprang up, and so many other things will gradually spring up. So there is no check. It is, the only check is Krishna consciousness. If people are taught that he can be happy only by reestablishing his eternal relationship with God. So our test of religion is how one has developed his God consciousness or love of God. We do not accept any principle of religion as genuine if we see that the followers have no love of God, but they have got love of matter. We testify the, bona fides of a religious principle. Of course, in religious principle, there is the teaching to become God conscious, to accept the authority of God. But because they are not properly taught, the followers are becoming godless, not only here, in India also. That is the position everywhere. So our proposition is to make people God conscious. It doesn't matter what he is. Either he is Hindu or Christian or Mohammedan. It doesn't matter. And this Krishna consciousness procedure is to raise or to develop love of Godhead. And as soon as he develops love of Godhead, then he becomes happy individually and collectively because there is love. He wants to love somebody else, but he is placing his love wrongly. He is placing his love, even one has nobody to love. He is loving cats and dogs. So love is there, but he does not know where to place his love and be happy. This is the information, Krishna.
Jai, wow, such a wonderfully, such wonderful.
Very wonderfully exposed. And we have to take into account, this is 1968. This is in the first 3 years of Krishna consciousness in America.
Yeah, right. Jai.
So now I'd like to bring up or point out one thing.
Sure.
I keep saying, and rightly so, I would say, that Krishna consciousness is not a religion.
Yes.
So he keeps on talking about religion because the reporter can relate to religion, but he keeps on suggesting that religion is not the end goal.
Yes.
And that because of religion, people are becoming more and more entangled in material life rather than becoming free from material life.
It's like that is the problem here. But they're becoming godless.
Go ahead.
So yes, a typical religion makes people godless, and we can see that. And Prabhupada there later says, what is the true meaning of religion is to become God conscious or love God. And then if it's a genuine religion, that will be apparent in its followers, So
what do you think about Iskcon then, the present Iskcon led by the essentially Vatican GBC? Would you say that people are becoming more or less God conscious under their type of guidance?
Well, my understanding or my realization has been that Prabhupada says here, I will quote Prabhupada here. Where does this Prabhupada say this? Prabhupada says they have been improperly taught. Huh? They're not being properly taught.
Can you highlight that?
Yes, please. Right here. But because they are not properly taught, the followers are becoming godless, not only here, in India also. So we can see that if we see many Iskcon Prabhupada temples, they are worshiping Durga, they're having all this nonsense festivals, so these people who are supposed to be following Srila Prabhupada are not teaching them properly. They're not properly taught. And the people have related to me their experience. One devotee that went to a Jaipataka Vyasa Puja, they were having a meeting of just Jaipataka disciples. He was like, "What's going on here? Why isn't everyone invited? Why only a group of Jaipataka disciples?" So who is propagating all this nonsense to congregate just for one person?
Obviously, it would seem obvious that if Krishna consciousness is universal, if Prabhupada preached universally, he did not preach to form little groups. He did not to have little clubs. And Thakur Bhaktivinoda says that's called sectarian, where you get this club, that group, that group. In the end, after how many years? 5, 10, 20, 100, 200, 500 years? They will kill each other.
Yeah.
Because they're creating their own following based on their, just even look at those sampradayas in the Vaishnava sampradayas, there's clash between them because they're all coming down separately. There's no communication or harmony between them.
Yeah.
They're trying to find some way to harmonize because they recognize they're all coming down from Balaram and they're all coming down from Krishna, but they have no practical way of doing it. And we've seen that in an example of the Acharyas of these different sampradayas are not able to even begin to understand Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So this was noticed by this devotee who attended their festival. He'd be like, "What's going on here?" He revealed his mind to me. It's like, there's a collective group of different gurus and disciples. They're collaborating amongst each other and not working together under the guidance.
Wait. Is this something you're reading or somebody is commenting?
No, I'm saying that. He told me this, that there are individual groups of devotees who are surrendered to XYZ guru and they're collaborating amongst each other, meaning they're a separate group and, making a cult or something, whatever you want to call it, a sectarian.
So that one guru's flock is like superior to another guru's flock.
Yeah.
There you go.
So this is very dangerous. This is not Krishna consciousness.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur refers to that as sectarian.
Yeah.
And the cause of sectarian is variation from the truth as spoken from the original Uttama Adhikari.
Yes.
The Uttama Adhikari speaks purely, and if 10 people listen, 10 people will have slightly different points of view, but that point of view will be pretty close. So if they start 10 different groups in that basic point of view, and then they start teaching it, the people that hear from them will hear that basic truth from the Acharya, from the pure devotee, the transcendental person, and hear it, but they'll start hearing it in their way. And that keeps on going. How many months, hours, years, decades will it take before it's completely turned into something else?
Yeah.
Maybe a core value remains, but not enough to produce unity amongst the different groups.
No, there's absolutely no unity here because the people who came here originally, they were materially motivated by getting the gurus and being initiated by this one guru, and then this thing kind of filtered through, and then that's what's going on, and it's very, very unhealthy.
And you know what happens if somebody goes into a Jaipataka Sangha and they say, "Oh, who is Jaipataka?" Oh, he says, he starts trying to, in Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, Shukabuko, you try to coerce them or persuade them or drag them into the understanding that Jaipataka is the cat's pajamas. And the cat doesn't have any other pajamas that are anywhere as close to being as good.
Yeah. Well,
So that's why they try to bring them in, and they do it by pleasing them. They do it by flattering them, by feeding them, by embracing them, hugging them, offering obeisances.
yeah.
And they do all of that to create a subcategory or cult, if you will, of Jai Pataka.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
what about all the others? Then you have all these other gurus, and they get along together like friendly rivals, you know.
friendly rivals. Yeah.
But what will they be like in 200 years?
I mean,
How friendly will that rivalry actually be?
yeah. I mean,
It may come down to, what do you think about that group over there? I was wondering whether I should join your group or that group over there. And you say, if you join this group, you'll be fine. You'll be safe. You'll be sound. Everything will go well for you. If you go towards that group, they will try to dissuade you from joining this group, and they will poison you against this group, and they will drag you away from the core philosophy and belief.
yeah.
Why not? That's the way human beings are.
Yeah.
That's a
Isn't that what it's
sectarianism.
Go ahead.
That's Bhaktivinoda's talking about sectarianism. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
And he says that at first it creates, it's funny because it's a few paragraphs. At first it creates quarrels or disharmony between the different descended groups coming from that pure source.
Yeah. So
And then it said they will fight with each other. Then in the end, a few paragraphs down, he says they will kill each other.
yeah.
He actually uses the word kill.
So this is
Ramachandra, what were you going to say?
I just want to stop here for now and then check the online, see if we have any questions from our devotees online. So just a few minutes, let's continue the discussion. But let me just pause it for a few minutes here. So so this is the difficulty here, or difficulty everywhere. This is what I was working through when I was working with different groups of disciples of Srila Prabhupada. You know, I was always centered on Srila Prabhupada and his letters, conversations, and what he was saying. But I was never able to get through to them because of these, man.
No, if I could just simply ask a question, or in a sense pose a proposal.
Sure.
If Srila Prabhupada is the only source of information, when I say that, not as just his books, but his sound vibration as he recorded it, kirtan and lectures, the way he structures his sentences, the way he discusses things, would that not prevent sectarianism?
Yeah, I
get what I'm saying.
Yes.
If people all, and supposing instead of having so many temples or so many gurus, supposing you have so many temples with Prabhupada as the only sound vibration running it, and everyone can get off their opinion, everyone can be a senior devotee, everyone can read from the Shastra and give a class in the temple, there's no harm in that at all. In fact, it's wonderful, it's good. But how do you think there would be that disharmony amongst the different temples and different branches of Iskcon if Prabhupada was the only one producing sound vibrations that people listen to? In today's world, not in some past history. What do you think?
Huh? What did you? I was looking at the comments. We have some comments that we'll have to read. So can you repeat it again?
Okay. Well, okay. Why not just finish this one little thing up now that you're here and say, because if we have Prabhupada as the sole source of sound vibration, meaning his recordings, and we'll listen and chant like him and hear like him and discuss like him using his reasonable points in argument, if we do all of that, can we prevent sectarianism?
Actually, that's what I tried to do here when I was, somewhat in charge of the programs. I used to have Prabhupada give a class, and then we go over the class, and if anyone had any questions, we discussed after that, just like we're doing it here. So there was.
Okay, well, that's good. So you created this Sangha, and you did. You created this Sangha.
Yeah, you can say I created it, yes. And then,
I'm just a commentator. Translate loudmouth.
Yeah. so the difficulty was when these people started flying in and flying out. It caused a very great disruption because they would bring ideas and different difference, and then they would distort Prabhupada's message, basically. So,
okay, and that means it's not productive for
Yeah.
delivering the fallen souls of the material world. We need Prabhupada to deliver the fallen souls.
Right.
We don't need a bunch of semi-reformed Hindus.
Yeah.
We welcome Hindus, but if they accept Prabhupada's philosophy, Prabhupada said Hindus have no philosophy. They have so much religion, but no philosophy. Okay, so pick up Prabhupada's philosophy and then worship Krishna and try to understand it straightforwardly, not that Shiva's superior to Krishna or something like that,
Okay. Let's
go ahead.
Some comments.
Read the comments
from our devotees. Edwin Chandra comments, Westerners are happy and with their life. They don't need Krishna consciousness. Then Rob B says, only with Krishna we can have eternal life. Hare Krishna. Now in America, temples are full of Indians. Now India is advancing economically very rapidly. Edwin, just listen before you open your mouth. Edwin Chandra. They are just reading what Prabhupada said so many years ago. Now situation has changed. Rob says, Edwin, just be live in the process.
Believe.
Oh, Edwin, just believe in the process and believe in Krishna. Then Edwin Chandra says, they weren't American. They were American hippies who took to Krishna consciousness. Edwin Chandra, now Krishna consciousness looks like Indian religion. Then Rob B says, Edwin, it doesn't matter, just believe in Krishna. So these are just some of the comments that people
are. These comments directed to us?
Well, these comments were made as we were reading Prabhupada's interview, so.
Well, we can see there's a great deal of distance between these comments and a solution for the Krishna consciousness movement.
Yeah, so we can see here this Edwin Chandra, he's been in Krishna consciousness for more than 20 plus years. And
what?
Yeah.
He sounds like a Hindu off the street.
Yeah. So that's why I told him, I said his Krishna consciousness seems very weak. He's been taught improperly, This, like Prabhupada says, these people have been taught improperly. I've encouraged him to come on the program and ask questions and then, get properly situated. But,
Yes, I mean, it seems strange that anyone would talk like that. I thought it was someone who was, a Hindu that was getting used to Krishna consciousness.
No. He's a devotee chanting Hare Krishna for many, many years. At least I would guess, 15, 20 years. So
is he initiated by anyone?
Yeah, he was the same guy that got initiated by Bir Krishna. So this is what you get when you take initiation from these.
Not these. We have to deal with each individual separately.
Well, they're one group, right?
No, they're individuals.
No, I'm saying the mentality is like it's basically the same.
We cannot go there. We have to consider that each person in existence is an individual.
No.
And if a person becomes a guru, he's not a group. He's an individual pretending to be a group, but he's an individual and he thinks individually and he
thinks individually, but these satellite guru groups, they all have the same mentality, meaning
no,
that
they don't. They have individual mentality, but they are in harmony with each other's thinking. But we cannot ever separate the individual from, we cannot ever group people. We can't group anybody. We can't even group chickens in a chicken house.
Then why the Jayapataka clan, congregates among themselves and the other Swami groups with?
Because a bunch of individuals chose to do that.
Yeah. So
they're individuals. So
yeah, they're individuals, but they share the same group thing.
No, it's not the same. Each one is. Don't you see? Each person is different.
Yeah, each person is different, but
not the expression. The jiva is different.
Yeah, that I understand, but they have the same interests, similar interests.
No, they have similar interests.
That's what I'm saying. Similar interests.
Not same, similar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Similar interests.
Similar because they have made a pact to.
Yes.
They've made a pact to agree with each other.
Yes.
But that doesn't. If we say they're the same, then we're finished. We're doomed.
Yeah, similar. Yes. Similar. Yes.
Yeah, because we have to take into account that each
they're not the same. Yes, my language
can
is
change his mind without the rest of them changing their minds.
Just like I changed my mind. Yes, exactly. Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
That if you have a room full of Jayapataka disciples, they are all individually worshiping him as their guru. If you say, oh, it's a big group that worships him, then we're screwed. We're finished. But if we say these are all jivas, individual jivas that have taken a mistaken point of view, then each jiva has the choice to continue to be mistaken or not.
Yes.
Each one. If there's a room with 300 people in it, each of the 300 people can choose or not choose to, you see what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
They can either choose or not choose to go along with the crowd. Just like lemmings, lemmings. They're all galloping off towards the cliff. Right. They're all galloping off. No, the lemmings are all individually galloping, and they are believing that they should gallop with the others.
Gallop off the cliff.
They're not just. It's just not. It's not like a mass thing. It may look like a mass thing, but it's not. These are individual jivas that believe what they're doing is what they're supposed to be doing.
And some of them can change their mind.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Hare Krishna.
You hit the nail right on the head. We can't generalize people into groups.
That's my mistake.
All of our mistake. We tend, but isn't that what people do by making all black people are like that, all Chinese people are like that, all Indian people are like that?
Yeah,
We group them, and so they don't have
similar. Yeah, the word is similar. Yeah, it's not all. They're all individuals with similar understanding. Yeah,
who have who have voted themselves in or have adopted a similar understanding.
Yeah,
which they can just as easily unadopt.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Jai.
How can we save anybody if we say they're stuck?
Unstuck yourself.
They're there because they want to be. They're there freely because they want to be there freely. Then they can just as freely get up off the floor and walk out the door too.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk to them when they come out the door.
Try. Actually, we tried to have a conversation with them at the Rath Yatra 2000. Well, when were you guys here? 2021 or 2020? Yeah, right.
21.
Yeah. So, we extended our hand. So let's see.
Yeah,
no one has
extended our hand. They acted as though we're outside of their Siamese twin collection there. That they're all stuck with each other.
Yeah. So.
But that's not it. We know from Guru Shastra Sadhu that is not reality.
Yeah. Reality is not. It's not. Okay, let's I guess let's continue.
With all respects to the persons that came with the comments, if you've been there for more than any years, you really need to rethink everything. Now, this is what I would like to say to, what is the name of that devotee?
Edwin Chandra. He's a nice guy. You know, he's a very hardworking person. But
Okay, nice, hardworking person. What Chandra?
Edwin Chandra.
Edwin?
Yeah.
Okay, Edwin Chandra Prabhu. Please accept my obeisances because you're part and parcel of Krishna, and you are part, and as part and parcel of Krishna, you're as good as Krishna is to me. Therefore, I offer my prostrated obeisances to you. And I invite you to exhibit your individuality and not think like others. There's nothing to be gained by thinking like others. When you leave your body, you don't leave your body with others. When you leave your body, I mean, do you really, excuse me, do you really think that when you leave your body, that you have a group and that you all go, who is he? He's with Bear Krishna. Do you think that all Bear Krishna's initiates leave their body with you?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. This Prabhu. Yeah. I'm saying, consider you're an individual and consider you're not talking like one right now. We invite you to be an individual, not to think what I'm thinking, because that, again, would not be an individual.
Yes.
It'd be grouping with me or grouping with Ramachandra or grouping with Rupa Manjari or Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
You'd be grouping with people. But you don't have to group with anybody. You can be an individual. And as an individual, when you do take initiation, you are supposed to be facilitated, not to become a member of a group, but to be facilitated as an individual on the path of going back to home, back to Godhead, as an individual. Okay?
Jai. Okay.
So nobody should be subject to groupthink.
Yeah, that's what you get when you when you join one of these cults.
Well, that's what you do when you're in the material consciousness, no matter what you do. Are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? Are you a socialist or what? You know?
Right.
We try to group people because people are terrified of being individuals.
Yeah.
But in spiritual life, being an individual is not only not bad, it's vital. It's absolutely required. I hope this Prabhu is listening and hearing what we're saying here about that. You see, so there are no matter what our bad experiences with a group of people, like supposing you're attacked by a lynch mob and they're going to burn you to death or something of that sort, or hang you and kill you. It's not a lynch mob, it's individuals. And they're all caught up in a mythology that makes them want to do something collectively to you. So our job as devotees is to recognize everyone as individually pure spirit soul. Whether they're in a lynch mob or not, just deal with everyone as individuals.
Right. Let me see if there's any more comments or questions from the devotees on Facebook and YouTube. Let's see here. Nope, not on Facebook. So, let's see. Oh, welcome, Mahaprabhu is online.
Mahaprabhu!
Oh, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Mahaprabhu, please
Hari
forgive
Bol.
me. Forgive me. Forgive me, Mahaprabhu. Would you please give me your forgiveness?
You need no forgiveness.
No, for one thing, if nothing else. I
What's
need you
that?
to forgive me for that I have somehow made you unwilling to join our Zoom call.
You didn't make me. You didn't make me. You encouraged me.
Well, I may have encouraged you, but when you miss the Zoom calls, I feel that I have driven you away.
No, it was me. It was me.
It's always Ramachandra. Das.
Don't let him in.
Oh, well, if you told me it was Ramachandra, I wouldn't bother apologizing.
There we go.
Oh, it's all
Fantastic.
Ramachandra's fault. Okay, bad boy Ramachandra.
I'm
No,
glad to
that's
be a
not-
part tonight.
Hare
I'm glad
Krishna.
to be.
Welcome.
Hare
I'm glad that
Krishna.
you're here.
Thank you. Thank you so
Did you have a
much.
chance to hear any of this, or do you just came in just
He's
now?
just coming in a few minutes ago. He came in.
I'm
Yeah,
just
we had a
coming in.
wonderful reading. Rupa Manjari was reading from a Prabhupada discussing Krishna consciousness in 1968 in Seattle, which was pretty far away from. We just opened a temple in Seattle, and
Fantastic.
yeah, on 26th Avenue or 24th.
And
I forget
I'm
which one.
sure Rupa did fantastic.
Excellent. You know,
No, we
very,
would have done more
The best
fantastic.
reader.
yeah.
Thank
The
you.
best
I know,
reader.
but you couldn't put on the Zoom call and just listen to it while you were driving?
Well, I just tuned in and I'm still driving, so I'll be listening in.
All right, no problem. So just listen and then ask
If you
questions
can,
later.
try to tune in at the beginning. Even if you're
Haribol.
at dinner, you can tune in during your dinner.
Haribol.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
But you're
All
a
right.
vital part of this process.
Thank you so
Vital.
much, Narayan.
Without
Amen.
you, it's like a person, it doesn't have to have 2 arms and 2 legs, but it's better if he does, right?
I'd love to be the third arm.
Okay, let's continue our reading. We still got some time, so I want to
Yes, sir.
finish as much as possible.
Okay, well,
Let's go.
good. So Mahaprabhu hasn't lost everything.
Yes, Mahaprabhu came at the right time. Okay,
Got it.
Prabhu, please, let's continue.
Okay. Then love is the most important element of Krishna consciousness. How do you feel about Christians, Buddhists, Muslims, Hindus, etc.? Then
Can you highlight this?
Yes, yeah.
are there other beliefs of no importance to you, just so long as they believe in one God and in love? Prabhupada.
That's
So
the
far-
interviewer. That's
Yes.
the interviewer speaking.
Yes.
Prabhupada. So far, Hindu religion is concerned, it is a very broad thinking. The Hindu religion, Vedic religion, is divided into 2 kinds of philosophers. One kind of philosopher is the impersonalist. They take the absolute truth as impersonal, all-pervading impersonal. And another philosophers, they take that the supreme absolute truth is person. The impersonal feature is one of the features of that person, but ultimately he is person. So without person, there cannot be any question of love. Therefore, the section who believes in person, not believing they know actually what he is, and there is method how to love that person. The example is given. Just like the sun and the sunshine and the predominating deity in the sun globe, similarly, one who comes to the light, he first of all sees the sunshine. That is impersonal. Then if he goes further, if he is able to go to the sun planet, that is localized. And if he can enter into the sun planet and see the predominating deity there, then he is a person. So this is a vast science. People are too much engrossed with material activities. They do not try to understand actually what is the position of the absolute truth. What is the position of the soul? Practically in the present day, they are more or less animalistic. Just like animal does not know anything beyond eating, sleeping, mating,
And defending.
Similarly, the modern civilization is too much busy for increasing the method of eating and increasing the process of comfortable life or sleeping and increasing the matter of method of sexual life or increasing the method of defense. So these things are found even in the animals. They also eat, they also sleep, they also have sex life, and they also defend in their own way. So human life is not limited within these 4 walls. He has to understand what he is, what is this world, what is this creation, what is God, how it is going on. But they are neglecting that fact. And Krishna consciousness will give information to this department of knowledge.
Jai. Wow.
So
Prabhupada.
doesn't this, so, okay, go ahead.
No, no, I'm just admiring Prabhupada's wonderful explanation. Yes, no, go ahead.
No, keep going. You were
Well,
going to give some insights.
no, I'm just you were. I will say something when I realize.
Well, I like it when you give the insights because it's something I haven't encountered before. If I say something,
Well, as Prabhupada says here, so far the Hindu religion is concerned, it is very broad thinking. So we're dealing with that here when we're dealing with so-called Hindus, right? They have a very broad thinking, which can mean absolutely anything and everything, right? And then Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada homes it in here. The Hindu religion, Vedic religion, is divided into two kinds of philosophers. So we can see, at least when we deal with Hindus, either they're personalists, devotees of Krishna or Rama, or one of the Vishnu Tattva deities, or they are followers of some Devi or Devata, like,
or impersonal.
Yes, or impersonal. Yes. So can we qualify these worshippers of the impersonal aspect of Krishna, meaning Lord Shiva, as being impersonalists? Or they are impersonalists, aren't they?
Well, not exactly. They're not Vaishnavas. In other words, impersonalist means you believe it's the Kanista Adhikari platform is impersonal. And even though you see, as a devotee of Krishna on the Kanista Adhikari platform, Brahman is the impersonal. So Brahman has no features.
Yes,
Shiva
Brahman
has features. Vishnu has Shiva features. But the real question is, Prabhupada decides here, somewhere in this text that was just read, he points out that where does he say that? That there must be the personal features, one of the features of that person, but ultimately he is person. So without person, there cannot be any question of love.
Yes.
Therefore, how to love that person? The example is given. So the point is that people love or they adore Vishnu or Shiva for a very specific reason. They do that not because they adore Shiva's pastimes with Durga as being equal to those of Krishna's pastimes with Radharani. They want to worship Shiva for a very simple thing. And this is what all Shiva worshippers have in common. They worship Shiva for what they can get. When you worship Krishna, Radha and Krishna, you don't worship for what you can get. You worship for what you can give. But when you're worshiping Shiva or Durga or whatever, it's what you can get, Prabhupada even said that Durga has all these weapons and a pitchfork. And what is she doing with that pitchfork? She's stabbing demons. He said, and who are these demons? Prabhupada cried out, we are these demons. And they are worshiping.
Hare Krishna.
She's stabbing demons. We are being stabbed by Durga. And they are worshiping. He said that in Nairobi in 1971. So the real distinction is that when you worship Krishna, you worship to give without receiving.
Jai.
When you worship Shiva or even Vishnu, you worship to get by giving the least you can to get the most in return.
Yes. We got some more comments from our devotee friends here, so I'll read it. So
good. You got some really good, really high level ones.
Yeah, it's a very high level one, and you love it. Hold on. Okay. This will turn the direction of the conversation, but that's fine. So I don't mind. So
no, that's fine. Yes.
we have about
Yeah,
30.
it's because it's a jiva, and we
Yes.
are jivas. That a person is a jiva means part and parcel of Krishna. So whoever is a part and parcel of Krishna addressing us, we can take them at face value.
Okay, so Edwin Prabhu saying he's the same devotee that has a very you know
Okay.
very abadhut understanding of Krishna consciousness.
Well, no, let's just put him down.
No,
He's
no.
he's in a process. He's come to our sangha, therefore he's come to learn. He has not
No, he's-
come to defeat us. He's come to be with us. It's the Gosti. He's here to share his view as a jiva with us, and it's our job not to evaluate him, but to accept who he is, what he says, and to express our view in such a way that we will all become more enlightened.
Okay, let's go to the comments. There's a guy here, devotee Bihari Das. Are you advocating that there should be no initiating gurus? Then Edwin Chandra Prabhu says, yeah, they want everyone to be Prabhupada's disciple. Ah, you got that right, Edwin. At least one thing you did get right. And then he says, they are against Iskcon's gurus. That's all. I see, thanks. Then Christopher Allen says, what if we're just obsessed with Sankirtan and just let everyone else come into place, initiation, etc.? They use their time, energy, intelligence for criticizing Iskcon gurus.
Come on, let's read it. Let's read this nicely with respect to the person that wrote it. Okay.
Okay. He's saying they use their time, energy, intelligence for criticizing Iskcon gurus. And then,
Who is that? They? Is that us?
no, that's my
Yes, he's talking about us.
He's talking about us, yes.
Okay, let's make things clear.
Okay. And
Let's
then
not make fun of them. Let's embrace him.
embrace Edwin. Okay. Hold on. Let's not finish with the comments. Edwin, you can write more. So don't worry. We're going to read all your comments. And then he's saying their life's mission is not to go back home. No, their life's mission is not to go back to Godhead, but to criticize Iskcon gurus. Even right now, when they are reading Prabhupada's interview, they find reasons to criticize Iskcon. And then Nikunja Biharidas, how do they delegitimize all Iskcon gurus? They say that Iskcon gurus are not qualified and Prabhupada didn't allow his disciples to become initiating gurus. Then Nikunja Biharidas says, what reference do they have from Prabhupada to establish that he didn't want his disciples to become gurus? I don't know. They claim that Prabhupada wrote it down. Interesting. Maybe they will present it for us now. We have discussed this over and over and over again in our various Ishtagoshti meetings. Right now,
That's what he's saying?
no, he's saying maybe they will present it for us
Okay,
now.
we don't need to make any comment. Let's just get him on the table. Let's get him
So,
on the seat of honor. Put him on the seat of honor and let's hear what he says and we'll respond.
so that's what Edwin Prabhu and Nikunja Bihari Das is saying. So
Okay, is that the end of it?
that's the end of it. So they have,
Okay, so let's go back. Is it okay if I try to help sort it out?
sure. We have
Okay,
about
we have
20
never
minutes.
we have never spoken, nor will we ever speak one word against Iskcon. We consider that Iskcon is descended from Krishna Loka by the transparent via medium, pure devotee, Untitled Acharya, Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
So where is the question of not accepting Iskcon? Iskcon is not what people have done to it. Iskcon is what Prabhupada created in 1966. He created something for a very specific reason. For instance, he said each Iskcon temple should be individually incorporated. If I say that it should be individually incorporated, is that against Iskcon? Or is it simply against criminals who have taken us away from Prabhupada's Iskcon and substituted something they call Iskcon that is not actually Iskcon. Now, the next point is, did Prabhupada welcome gurus? Yes, he said, there's no doubt he can welcome any of his disciples to become initiating spiritual masters on the condition that they become Uttama Adhikaris. And if you read the Nectar of Instruction, in the 5th verse, it says, the Kanista can offer initiation and Madhyam can, but they will not, the disciple will not make advancement under insufficient guidance. Therefore, accept only Uttama Adhikari. Well, I don't know how many, what, can you name these devotees right now? What their name is?
Edwin Chandra and Bihari Das.
Okay, Edwin Chandra and Bihari Das. How many Uttama Adhikaris do you notice in Iskcon right now? If Prabhupada says, take only an Uttama Adhikari as your guru, or why are you saying, why not take something else? If I say, I wear a size 9 shoe, and then you say, here's a size 5 shoe, stuff your foot into it, is that intelligent?
Absolutely not. Yes.
Insufficient size 9 shoe, which happens to be my actual shoe size, is sufficient. Size 5 shoe is insufficient. So why are you recommending insufficient for guru? Where did you get it? And furthermore, do you see any reference where Prabhupada said insufficient guidance should be the guiding rule of Iskcon? Meaning, did he say if your foot size is size 9 and the guru is size 5, accept that guru because he is the best you're going to have under the circumstance? I don't think he ever said that. He said, if you want a guru, he must be an Uttama Adhikari. He never said otherwise.
Yes.
Now you say, where did Prabhupada say no guru? Well, that's what Prabhupada say no guru. Why do you think that some priest is equal to an Acharya?
Yeah.
How can you say that? I mean, where's your brains? You've been in Krishna consciousness for quite a while. And I will offer you all respects for everything you've done and all the japa you've chanted, all the prasadam you've tasted, and everything. All the kirtans you've attended, all the deities you worship. I honor you for that. But where do you come up with an idea that someone who is not an Uttama Adhikari can become the Acharya or the guru of anybody? Unless you think that a guru is just like a Boy Scout leader, or that he's just a guy to, the room monitor. I mean, we don't want the room monitor, we want the professor. When you go to college to get a degree in physics, you don't say, oh yes, I got my physics degree from a room monitor. What do you mean? Why didn't you get your why didn't you get it from why did you get your degree from a college, from a PhD or multiple PhD college professor rather than a room monitor? Oh, that's very simple. The professor passed away, and so the room monitor took over the classes. He said, but didn't the teacher leave any recordings of his lectures?
Right.
Didn't he give weren't his books signed by him inside? Why are you going for the room monitor to be your professor? And can the room monitor actually even give you a PhD if he doesn't have one himself?
Right. Yeah.
The whole point of being initiated is to become a pure devotee, first a Kanista Adhikari, then a Madhyam Adhikari, and then an Uttama Adhikari. Prabhupada was an Uttama Adhikari, is an Uttama Adhikari. I mean, are you saying that Prabhupada is dead? If you're saying Prabhupada is dead, you're probably also saying Krishna is dead. Are you saying Krishna is dead? Prabhu, what is his name again, Prabhu? Can you announce his name again?
Edwin
Nis-
Chandra.
Edwin Chandra.
Chandra Prabhu, I'm addressing you very specifically. Are you considering that Krishna is dead? Well, he could be said to be dead. 5,000 years ago, he was shot in the arrow with an arrow in the foot. So is Krishna dead? Why are we chanting Hare Krishna if Krishna is dead? So are you saying Prabhupada is dead? Why are you saying Prabhupada is dead? That he has to be replaced by a room monitor? So let me just put in a nutshell, Prabhupada is not dead because he's an eternal part of, he is just like you, Edwin. You are eternally part and parcel of Krishna. And are you more superior than Prabhupada? That you're part and parcel of Krishna and Prabhupada is not part and parcel of Krishna? Are you saying that for real? Okay, supposing you are saying that for real, you are not, you are eternal, and you're saying Prabhupada is not eternal. Now, is the eternally liberated soul ever dead? Can you calculate that? How can the eternal being, like if Krishna is not dead, well, how about the cowherd boys in Vrindavan, in Goloka? Are they dead? Because what? Because we're here and they're there, therefore they're dead? Why are you thinking like that? They're eternally in the rasa with Krishna. Prabhupada is eternally in his rasa with Krishna. That's not the same thing as being dead. Dead means material body, not spiritual form. So if you don't believe that Prabhupada came from Krishna Loka, and you believe he's an ordinary guru that can be easily replaced by a Jayapataka or any of the gurus, if you think he can be that easily replaced, then you really don't believe that Prabhupada is a pure devotee.
Yeah.
You don't believe that Prabhupada is an associate of Krishna.
Yeah.
You don't believe that Prabhupada was the transparent via medium from Krishna. That when he was here, he's just a little old Indian and he died. If that's what you think, how the hell do you think you can go back to Godhead if you have someone like Bir Krishna as your guru? Is he superior to Prabhupada?
No way. I've talked to
Krishna
him.
can take you back to Prabhupada, back to Godhead, and Prabhupada cannot? How are you saying Prabhupada cannot take you back to Godhead now? He's eternally with Krishna. Bir Krishna will someday be eternally with Krishna. There's no doubt about that. So will Jayapataka. So will Bhavananda. So will even Kamal Krishna and even Kirtanananda. They will all eventually go back to Godhead. But they're going to have to go through quite a bit of agony first. But the thing is that, where do you get your philosophy? Did Bir Krishna tell you this? Is he telling you that Prabhupada is dead? Is he saying that you have to have a replacement guru for Prabhupada? Does he have a replacement guru for Prabhupada? He was initiated by Prabhupada. Who is his replacement guru now that Prabhupada is dead and buried? Who is his replacement guru, Bir Krishna? Or any of them? Rameshwar, Bhagavan, Hansadura. Where are the replacement gurus when their guru Prabhupada died? Why didn't they quickly take another guru so they would have a living guru? Even if that living guru was no more advanced than they were, or maybe even less advanced. I mean, how do you calculate? I mean, you've been in the movement for a long time. Haven't you understood the very basic principle that Krishna is eternal and Prabhupada is also eternal? And if Prabhupada is eternal, why can he not appear in Iskcon temples instead of people that are not self-realized? I mean, really? You really think that a non-self-realized soul is better than Prabhupada?
Well, that's what I think.
I have a very big question.
Yeah.
You believe he's not as good as the non-realized guru is not as advanced as Prabhupada? Now, My view is, why do you believe that? And
Well,
another question,
yeah.
how do you believe that? I'm addressing Edwin. So when you get down to that, I'm telling you everything in completion. Prabhupada is, just as Krishna will be here in 10,000 years. I mean, Brahma, 12 billion, 6,400,000 years is one of Brahma's day. And you think Krishna will not be here in 10,000 Earth years? What part of Brahma's day is 10,000 years, Earth years? I mean, give me a break. Who do you think that Brahma is that much greater than Krishna? So Krishna will be here in 10,000 years. I hope you understand that. And I hope if you don't understand it, that you can begin to believe it, because it happens to be true.
Yeah.
Now, if Krishna is here, and if Krishna created Iskcon, not that I reject Iskcon, but if he created Iskcon, I say Krishna's Iskcon will be here in 10,000 years. And if Prabhupada is the transparent via media for Krishna, is an Uttama Adhikari, which means that who knows his pastimes, he might be one of the cowherd boys in Krishna Loka, and he comes down as Prabhupada to have mercy on us. Are you going to say that cowherd boy is dead and gone now, that he's not, that he comes as Prabhupada? Or is Prabhupada is dead and gone because he's back being a cowherd boy? Why are you saying that? Atheism. That's atheism. How can you be such an atheist? I've heard from Ramachandra, you're a very nice person. And I believe I've met you possibly. But I don't realize you're an atheist. That God is dead. And that Prabhupada is dead. And Iskcon, Iskcon's alive because it has the GBC. Well, I have to tell you this about the GBC. They disobeyed Prabhupada, and then they murdered Prabhupada. And you believe in the GBC who murdered Prabhupada more than you believe in Prabhupada. Isn't that rather right? Isn't that rather choice? How can you believe that the people who murdered Prabhupada, who became Diksha gurus like Tamal and Bhavananda and Jayapataka, how can you believe that they are pure devotees, that they are qualified to be Iskcon Diksha gurus, and that Prabhupada, for some reason, is not? So what is Diksha from Prabhupada? Prabhupada had what he called, this is the last bit of my exposition. Prabhupada had what he called Officiating Acharyas. And these Officiating Acharyas were usually temple presidents who'd perform the Agnihotra ceremony. Agnihotra, for your information, means fire sacrifice. And for this fire sacrifice ceremony, for first and second initiation, he used Officiating Acharyas. So Officiating Acharyas can continue. Don't call them Ritviks. I'm not a follower of Tamal Krishna, Tamal or Narayan Maharaj. Tamal and Narayan Maharaj introduced the word Ritvik into that July 9th letter. Forget it. We're talking about Officiating Acharyas that Prabhupada already had in place. All they had to do was continue. Okay? So therefore, Prabhupada doesn't give the physical diksha. His Officiating Acharya gives the physical acharya. Prabhupada had 5,000 disciples when he entered Samadhi. Do you, Edwin, even begin to believe that he did an Agnihotra ceremony for each and every one of those 5,000? If you do, you must consider that Prabhupada has as many arms as the Brahmas do in the bigger planets than ours. How many arms did Prabhupada have to perform fire sacrifices with over a few years' time? No, he used Officiating Acharyas. And who were they? temple presidents, generally. Hansaduta said he didn't like doing the fire sacrifices, so he had his temple commander be the officiating Acharya.
Right.
So the Hansaduta, the officiating Acharya, made his temple commander an officiating Acharya. And that's exactly how it works. And what else does the officiating Acharya do? Weddings, eh? How about death ceremonies, Shraddha ceremony? Shraddha means death ceremony. And what about Anaprasana? That means when the child is 4 months old, the child is given the opportunity to pick coins or books. Well, that can be done by the officiating Acharya. It's called Anaprasana if you don't know the term, but it's just called a grain ceremony. The child gets his first grains at that time. So that is the story of Iskcon. That is the story of the future of Iskcon. Prabhupada ain't dead. He can perfectly well be there. I have never said one word against Iskcon. I have said that the GBC kidnapped Iskcon, perverted Iskcon, gave us monkey sounds, kirtans instead of Prabhupada kirtans, and they also gave us gurus that were like little puppets on a stick. And how can an unelected GBC of 100 people, where did they get the authority from Prabhupada? I would like to ask, to create gurus. Prabhupada never said the GBC can produce gurus. Never once did he say that, ever. So that's all I have to say. And if you have something to say, send us another text.
Hare Krishna. All right.
We have 5 minutes.
Hari Bol.
Everyone has a short period of time to respond.
Yes, so if anyone wants to make a comment, please make a comment or join our WhatsApp group. It's in the link, and then we can have a conversation regarding this exact topics.
Hari Bol, is the Zoom user Mahaprabhu?
No, yes.
Oh,
that's
hey,
Mahaprabhu.
you're here. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Danot Pram. Hari Bol. Jai.
Jai.
Oh, he's dead. I think I gave you an earful. I didn't know it was you. I was talking to too.
Haribol Mohit.
Hari Bol,
And
Maharaj.
Raj-
Hari
and
Bol.
Bol,
Mahaprabhu.
my friend, my brother.
Yeah.
Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Jai ho.
Jai.
Hi.
So, thank you
Mahaprabhu
very
is
much.
Back in the saddle.
Acha.
Wow. So, Mohit, did you find anything that I said in such a long, essentially a rant? Did you hear anything that you did not agree with?
So I agree with you totally, 110%. I can close
Don't
my
agree
eyes
with
and
me.
walk
I don't
behind
care if
you.
you should not agree with me.
Agree
If
with
you
the
agree with what I said.
the message is more important.
Yeah, bro, the message is important. I read your mail also last night, so
Hare Krishna.
ultimate, superb,
Excellent.
bro. Excellent. Point blank on target for people for mainframe Iskcon guys.
Can you tell Edwin Prabhu, if he's still online, that you agree with what I just said, and we ask him to agree as well?
Jai.
Hari Bol, sure.
Edwin
Jai.
agrees.
Good. He's probably online.
And he's the black sheep of Iskcon.
Probably not black sheep.
Okay, the white sheep then.
He's a white sheep that got in the mud.
Hari Bol.
The mud might be black, but he's not a black sheep.
So, okay. Jai. I think we have a wonderful discussion today with the comments and then with Prabhupada's interview. It's been very,
Amazing.
triggering, at least
Yeah,
for me.
So, and I invite that Bear Krishna should bring that Edwin should bring Bear Krishna on to the Zoom call.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get it.
But we don't drink
10:30.
beer. We don't
No.
drink beer. But we
No.
do. We chant Hare Krishna, but we don't drink beer.
Okay. All right. Let me see if there's anything else
I
here.
have to say to Edwin Prabhu that Bear Krishna has been my very dear friend since 1976 3 or 4 in Los Angeles. He was married to Birmala, Krishna Birmala. Prabhupada initiated them and gave them names, spiritual names that were compatible.
Well, Edwin wasn't alive in 73. He came a little later. So, yes.
So anyhow,
Ramachandra Prabhu is so happy today. Haribo. Very happy, bro.
Okay.
and
So we got 1 minute left. Thank you to all our devotees, guests watching online, on Facebook, on YouTube. Thank you for your wonderful questions. If you'd like to contact us, please join our group, and then we'll see you there. Our
And
next meeting is on
Ramachandra,
Sunday. Yes.
if Edwin makes a comment, I'm quite willing to stay on after the meeting just to answer him, if he does.
Okay, let's see if he does. Okay, it doesn't seem like it. He hasn't
Okay, but for everyone else, they could. It's 10 o'clock. Everyone else can cut out if they want, or if Mohit, if you want to stay on, or Mahaprabhu, if you want to stay on. Let's see what Edwin says.
I want to stay on, bro. I have time. 15,
You have
20
time?
minutes. I
Okay.
can stay.
So
Haribo.
what you can do is Rupa Manjari Prabhu left. Okay, excellent. So you managed the meeting. You managed the meeting and you asked the question. So I gotta go take care of some things, but I'll be hearing. Okay.
Sure, bro. Sure.
What's this?
My Ramachandra Prabhu is giving me the opportunity to host the meeting, Prabhu. So he's saying,
Okay,
ask your
so
question. We have 15 minutes. Yeah.
Did Edwin respond to what I said?
No, Edwin has
No,
not
no.
responded.
No.
Okay, then
Mahaprabhu, you have
finished.
anything to discuss? Haribol.
Haribol.
Well, if there's anything, is there anything you want to discuss, or Mahaprabhu that you would like to discuss?
No, bro, I don't want to discuss anything. I've just come from the temple, chanted
Jai.
the rounds, and will start my walk. Yeah, bro. Jai.
Jai. Okay, well, it's up to all of you. If you want to cut it out now, let's cut it out now. If you want to have anything you want to discuss, let's discuss it now.
Mahaprabhu, you have anything? Haribol?
I have nothing here right now. I'm still driving.
Oh, Haribol, you're always driving, Prabhu.
Always driving. What a life.
Is it taking? Is it the car taking to Golok Dham, Prabhu?
That's right. Fantastic.
Sure. Chalo, good to see you, Nana and Prabhu. Danvat Pranam. I'm cutting off.
Always a pleasure.
Hare
I love
Krishna.
you all. Thank you so much. Haribol.
Who's the
Ramachandra,
Zoom
I'm cutting
user?
off. Haribol.
Who's the Zoom user?
That's Mahaprabhu. Sounds good, Mohit Prabhu. You can end it whenever you like. So we're
Stop.
done for
Hare
tonight.
Krishna.
We'll see everyone on Sunday.
Sunday.
Jai.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Guys.
Guys, let me touch my forehead to each and every one of your lotus feet. And why do I say lotus feet? Because each and every one of you in this Iskcon are pure spirit soul, meaning part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, if I touch my head to your lotus feet, I am touching Krishna's lotus feet.
Acha.
Hari Bol. Jai.
Hare
Hari,
Krishna.
Hari, 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 Hari.
Nana and Prabhu ki Jai.
Hare
All
Krishna.
worship Pure Prabhupada.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.